After being in a 2-month-long reading slump, I decided that it was a good idea to add 19 books to my December hopefuls. I have read 7 of them, so let's do a little reading update. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Olivia. I talk about all things books, and yes, that does mean all genres. Today, let's just go over the books that I have already completed in December and the ones that I am currently reading. I started off December by finishing Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This was a carryover from November. The Six of Crows duology comes after the Shadow and Bone trilogy in the Grishaverse, but I decided to skip over that. I feel like this book is the most loved out of all of the Grishaverse, and I decided to just start there. I don't feel like I missed out on anything, but I do think that I like Leigh Bardugo's writing style enough to go back and read the trilogy. So I will finish this duology, go back and read the trilogy, and then finish with the Grishaverse. I really do think that this was so well written and captivating. Normally in fantasy novels, it takes around 100 pages. I feel like the world building is super slow. So I do think it takes around 100 pages to fully immerse yourself in this new world and know what is going on. For this, I think around the 40-page mark, I was like, okay, I know what's happening. There were just a ton of names and places that were just being thrown at you all at once. But this does come after a trilogy. So all of the world building and the introduction to the magic system definitely comes from that rather than in here. Do I feel like I missed out on anything? No. Am I going to go back and read Shadow and Bone? Absolutely. The second book that I finished this December is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. There is a lot of hype surrounding this book, and I feel like I went in the read with the expectation that this was going to absolutely change my life, and then it didn't. I love the limb difference representation, but I feel like the pacing was really weird. You start off very strong and there's tension between the characters, and I don't want to give too much away, but then all of a sudden it stops. And I know that's what the novel is supposed to be doing, but it really didn't pick back up until the very end. And the miscommunication trope in here was so strong. Sometimes it really frustrates me in romance novels when the love interests do not talk to each other. In my mind, that's not realistic. I know that a lot of romances are fluffy. I want mine to be raw and realistic and accurate to everyday life. I really did like the ending. And I'm not saying that this is a bad book by any means. I ate this up. It took me a day and a half to read this, and I'm a slow reader. It's just the pacing was weird, and I think that I just went in with an expectation that was not reached, and that's all. I don't have the physical copies on me to show you, but I did finish the One Piece Baratier arc, which are volumes 6, 7, and 8. This arc was absolutely insane. There was a mass of people. I feel like there was also a very controversial backstory that was introduced as well. I think this arc was a little hard to follow. I don't know if it's just because my library loans were not all ready at the same time, so I kind of had to take a pause in between the arc, or if it was the fact that there were so many antagonists that were introduced and there was just so much going on here. And then it also ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. So we'll see what happens there. But I do have volumes 9, 10, and 11, which are part of the Arlong Park arc. And I'm excited to see what happens here. One of my friends actually posted a reaction video to a chapter in volume 9, and they were sobbing. So I think I might want to do a little reaction video to that, but I'm also a little scared. I don't know what is in store for us there. One more manga update. I actually did start Witch Hat Atelier, so I read volumes 1 and 2. The art style to this is absolutely gorgeous. And I love that in the first volume we get some colored pages. I mean, isn't that the most beautiful art you've seen in a manga? And if not, please let me know what is. I'm just so absolutely amazed by this. The story is also really good. It kind of reminds me of Catabasis in the fact that we're talking about seals and drawing magic. But I will definitely be continuing with volume 3 very soon because, like I said, I am just in love with the art style. The story is extremely captivating and I just want to know what happens next. Moving on to what I have in progress. I was going to read Blood Over Brighthaven next, but I think my buddy reads have really taken a hold over my TBR and have become top priority because we're running out of time in this month and these buddy reads need to get read. So I will be reading this after I finish my buddy reads. What are the buddy reads, you ask? Well, one is The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I discovered this year that I love pirates. I read Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson at the beginning of the year and absolutely loved it. That was another buddy read just with my husband. It was also my introduction to Brandon Sanderson and the Cosmere, so just a big whammy all around. And then I started on One Piece, which kind of solidified the fact that I do like to read about pirates. Surprisingly, I found this in a thrift store, and I think that to date, this is the most surprising thrift find because it's signed. That's crazy. I've only read the foreword and the first chapter to this and I'm really intrigued. So far it seems that there is a very stream of consciousness writing style and I love that. So excited to get more into this in the coming week. I'm also currently reading Cello's Gate by Maurice Africh. This too is another buddy read. I am just getting started with this as well, but I'm having such a good time. It's really funny. I think the author also has his very own unique writing style, and I'm really liking the characters so far, especially Dot. But I am hoping to finish this before the end of the weekend because it has captivated my attention. And the last book that I'm currently reading is You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. I'm about 40% of the way through this. I've cried twice already with this book. It's very triggering. It's very hard to read, but I do believe it's very necessary. It's haunting. I am loving it, but it is definitely a very heavy read. So if you are interested in this, my recommendation would be to check your trigger warnings before you start it. But there we have it. These are the books that I've already read this month and the books that I currently have in progress. Please let me know what you're currently reading and if you've read any of this because I'd love to talk about it.